Hey there creators, Niamh here, and I am doing a piece with those pigment markers, the Winsor Newton Pigment Markers that I got for my birthday. And I wanted to try to do a full finished piece with it. It is on a smaller piece of paper. I think this is a 6x8. That's inches. And as you can tell, I'm doing a person, and I don't normally do people, because people drawing is not my strong suit. I wonder if maybe that'll be kind of a New Year's resolution sort of thing next year. Maybe I'll do more people and just try to get a little bit more comfortable with people drawing. I don't know, we'll see. I don't really like to make New Year's resolutions because usually they get forgotten. So anyway, I'm still very, very new to using the pigment markers, so a lot of this was just a lot of experimentation and really not knowing what I'm doing. I'm using a brush here to blend. A lot of times I was cleaning off the brush in the water, and I would try to really dry it before I used it again, because if it's wet then it's gonna basically erase what I put on there. So but sometimes it kept some of the moisture, so it was still there. But yeah, so this was quite tough for me. There was a lot of fussing with it, and last week I had mentioned that something you kind of don't want to do with these is fuss too much, and there was a lot of fussing with this, just because people drawing in and of itself, it's not my strong suit, and two, this is a whole new medium, and I am still trying to get used to how it works, because it's not at all like regular alcohol markers. And like I've said before, these are not alcohol markers, they're pigment markers. They're more like paint markers. Yeah, so I wanted to use different ways of blending besides my fingers, because that's what I used with that leaf last week. I was trying to use my fingers to blend, and that worked pretty well. But it did leave a lot of fingerprints and stuff, so I thought maybe I could try a different method. Right now I'm using the brushes, various brushes, and later on I end up using Q-tips. But I would say that overall the fingers were the best at blending bigger areas. Well, with the brush on the face, it gave a very painterly look. There was you could see a lot of brush strokes, so it looks very painterly, and I do like that look. It looks, by the end of this piece, it did turn out in a way that I like, but there was a lot of struggle. Yeah, and I mean, I knew I wanted to do a face and kind of surreal-like, and different colors, obviously the blues and the purples and stuff. So I wanted something surreal, but I wasn't exactly sure where it was going. So yeah, it was one big experimentation, and you did see a jump there because I was not recording part of that, but I added in some yellowy orange color. I can't remember the name of the marker, but there was yellow orange added to the face, just to bring just some light, so there's some light bouncing off her face. Yeah, so I started the hair, and kind of what my idea was that I would do the hair, and then I thought maybe I could take a Q-tip and erase some image out of the hair. I was thinking trees, like a forest or something, and I thought that could be really cool, but as you'll see, it didn't exactly turn out great, and I ended up, oh gosh, it was it was a struggle. I ended up deleting that, as if that was computer art. I mean, like erasing, you know. Yeah, it just didn't work out, and there was a lot of ugly phases with this painting. You know, for the most part, I was happy with her face. I did not want to mess with her face too much. It was very painterly and pretty looking, but everything else just went through so many transformations. Like, I started out doing just the hair, and then putting in trees with Q-tips, and then you know, adding the hair back, and yeah. If I had to describe what painting with these is like, it's almost like using dry erase markers on a dry erase board, on a whiteboard, you know. And so it's like when you go over something again, sometimes it lifts the previous color, and yeah, and I mean, if you don't blend out a lot, it's going to stay streaky. Like in some of those spots, you can really see a streakiness. So if you want to get rid of that, you kind of have to blend things out a bit before it dries. Because once it dries, if you start trying to blend it, it'll just like lift, or it won't do anything at all. So yeah, it's you got to be a little fast with it, and yeah, that was a bit of a struggle. And as you could see on the side there, I kept scribbling off because I was having an issue with my painting markers, that they, you know, they really pick up the colors around them. So it kept going on the markers, and then I'd have to clean off the markers again. So I would say that's something I don't like about them, just how much they blend like that. Oh, and here I am trying to add in those trees. I took a wet Q-tip, and I was doing a, you know, it started out looking okay. I was like, okay, this is not bad. Taking a wet Q-tip and just clearing out a spot, and I had to keep erasing a little bit. Yeah, and then this is where I was really starting to struggle. I was like, I don't, and then I put a big ugly tree right there that was slanted, that, and then the other tree going the other way, and I was like, oh, this is not good. What am I doing? And yeah, this, oh gosh, this part was so frustrating. Yeah, I'm just gonna watch in horror right now. Oh yeah, okay, and here I am going over it because I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. But I had an idea after this point. After fixing everything, putting her hair kind of back to where it was, and I'd seen other people using these where they would flick water on a piece and just let the flickers of water do what they're going to do. So I thought maybe I could do that at the bottom, and it could kind of look like waves. And I actually think that turned out really good. That definitely salvaged the piece. It was, right now it's still very much in its ugly phase where nothing's really working right. But once I added a lot of the water sprinkles, it was actually pretty cool looking, and yeah. So it is I'm recording this on Thanksgiving Day, actually, in America, and it's a holiday for us. We are actually celebrating on Friday instead of Thursday, just because it worked better for family schedules and things like that. But that's why I'm doing the voiceover on Thursday. Oh, and here I am adding the flicks of water, and that was fun. And then taking a dry paper towel and kind of getting rid of splotches, and this turned out, I mean, it was a little messy on one side, but it definitely worked out. But yeah, so if you are in America, I would like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Or when this video goes up, it'll be the day after Thanksgiving, but that's when I will be celebrating Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really liking the effects that this had on the paper. It was looking pretty cool, especially on the right side of the page. The left side I had to fuss with a lot more, and I got a lot more, I filled in some of her hair again, and then did some very intentional water splatters in certain areas, making it look a lot more like waves. And by the time I finished with this, I was very happy with it. My daughters loved it because they could tell right away that it was waves, which that's a good test. Get a child to look at it, and if they know what it is, then okay, all right, it looks like that. And here, and I've tried to brighten up some of the whiter spots with the white marker, but it did have a lot of like the other colors still on it, though, the white marker. Oh, and I will say that I have the hardest time with the bullet nibs on these markers, and I don't know what it is, but like I don't get very pigmented color coming out the bullet nib side, so I end up using the chisel nib almost exclusively with these, and that is certainly different than other markers, because a lot of people don't really like the chisel nib on other markers, but with these pigment markers, I don't know, I just didn't get very much pigment coming out of the bullet nib side. Every time I tried to use it, it was almost like it was just pulling up the other colors. It wasn't laying down colors. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but anyway, so this is almost done. I am very happy with how it turned out. Let me know what you think. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate it, and if you don't, then I hope you have a great Friday. And if you're new here and you like what you see and you want to see more, then click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, and I will see you around. Later, creators. Bye!